How to go from the OU Daily to the Wall Street Journal Online in London, starring Jennifer Johnson Hicks.
I went to the same church as Susan Sasso, who at the time was the director of student media at OU. And I think it was her that suggested I go over and talk to Jack Willis at the Daily so that when the summer came I might start working there or get involved in some way. So that summer after I graduated from high school, I went over and saw Jack Willis and he introduced me to the Daily and it was basically like, you could start right now. And it was kind of like, wow, I could start at the OU paper. This is really crazy. And from there, I sort of really loved it and I knew journalism was going to be my major, and so I just dug my teeth in. I just had great professors that pointed me in the right direction, and my summer after my sophomore year, I went and did an internship at the Daily Oklahoman's Washington Bureau. So when I returned, though, I sort of knew that even though I had a lot of fun, I wasn't meant to be a reporter, and what I really enjoyed was copy editing. So I graduated from OU, I went to the Boston Globe, and then after that, I went straight to Columbia. After I graduated from Columbia, I moved back to Norman for a while, and I did all sorts of things. I did some work at the Daily, I updated the style book, and then that November I took a job at the Muskogee Phoenix as their assistant night editor. So I was there from November to April, and then I ended up taking a job at the Wall Street Journal Online. I started at the bottom of the totem pole at the Wall Street Journal Online as a news assistant, and basically what that entailed was doing production for the opinion pages. Basically, I would just take the copy and put it on the web, and it was pretty basic. And as I proved myself, I got more responsibility, and I was eventually promoted to news reader, and then news writer, and then assistant news editor. And all the time, the company is sort of evolving around us. I mean, everything was changing. Eventually, I ended up running the website in the evening hours. So I did that for a couple of years, and last summer, I got asked if I would ever consider working overseas, and I never thought I would. I thought New York was like, it's as big as it gets, but there's even more after New York. So now I'm in London and I'm a news editor working on the European edition of the website.
I've been working with Jennifer since last summer when she moved to London. I knew her by reputation almost as soon as I joined the journal at the start of 2009.
Will ruin your reputation.
She was rated very highly by colleagues in the US, and so when an opportunity came up and the possibility of bringing Jennifer to London arose, I leaped at the opportunity. When users come to WSJ.com in Europe, they're served the edition we produce here in London. It's a view of the world through European eyes, which means that we're not parochial. If there's an important story from Asia or an important story from the US, we'll put that top of the site, but often we'll be leading on stories which are of particular importance to our audience here in Europe.
We're working with a lot of the same content, it's just how we decide to play it up. So it requires a different kind of a news judgment, and you have to be more knowledgeable about what European audience would want to read. And I don't think I necessarily knew that when I first got here, but I've definitely learned more about what a European audience wants to read. And I choose stories now with that in mind, and that's sort of the goal, is to provide a snapshot of the news that really captures a European audience. Usually a story would start out in the morning as a web version, and it would be written by a reporter who's writing it for the web at that moment, but later will be looking to write it also for print. Editors would sit along the window, the ones that work for they're like duo online and print editors. So in the morning they'll and during the day they'll be editing for .com, and then they'll switch to editing for the paper. And then we also have online-only things, stories, blogs, multimedia, and those are things that we work on separately from print. There's a dialogue with readers and reporters. It makes the news more interactive. There are all kinds of new things we can do. We've ventured into Facebook and other social networks. Twitter, we offer Twitter feeds. And so we're doing a little bit of everything, and it's fun to make up the rules as you go along. I was really fortunate to know exactly what I wanted to do when I got to college, and I was able to go at it full force.
And I think it's hard if you don't know what you want to do, but if you know exactly what you want to do, it's really easy.
If you know the core of what you want to be doing on a daily basis, then there's really no stopping you, and just go out and do it. Do it in internships or do it on your own on the web, because the tools are there for you. But I think the key is just to figure out what you want to do and just go do it the best you can.